Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to Mondays with Mr. Happy, aka Mr. Happy Mondays, the weekly Q&A show where you ask me questions and I answer them. It's been an eventful week. I mean, on top of having just moved into an entirely new location, this being, of course, my new office. If you didn't see last week's episode somehow, we had Occult Crescent drop, and I didn't really have any immediate plans for it other than to go do it. I've done a few Forked Tower runs about halfway through, but I didn't have a dedicated group with everything going on. I didn't really think about getting a dedicated group, but I'll get through it at some point this week and have full videos on everything once I don't have to throw as much time at it as I am now. So please keep an eye out for that this week. I'm also just getting a feel for my schedule. Obviously I'm here in a new location and I'm, prioritizing, life more so than anything right now. And so I just haven't been, putting, a lot of extra hours into YouTube videos. It's just not the time, It's time to, settle in a little bit, But either way, we still have a weekly Q&A that I can at least make sure that we still have. So I'm going to get started on some questions, which I assume will be a lot about Occult Crescent. And so if someone asks a question and there's another question a lot like it, don't be surprised if I just decide to say, hey, I kind of already answered that. I'm going to move on to the next one. Before we get going, though, as a reminder, the Magic the Gathering X Final Fantasy cards are going to be releasing soon. I am actually going to be opening some packs. I'm going to be opening a collector's booster box, a regular booster box, a bundle, as well as each of the commander decks, which will, I think those all come with 2 individual ones. I'm also going to be giving away collector's commanders boosters. I'm only going to be doing that on stream. So obviously if you're watching a YouTube video, it'd be kind of crazy to think, oh, how will I know when it is? Obviously I have social channels. I know not everyone's down with that. I will be posting it on the YouTube community section. So if anything, at the very least, since you subscribe to me, most likely, that would be a place to check this week, because I will announce when I am doing the Final Fantasy X Magic the Gathering pack opening, because that is when I will be doing the commander deck giveaways. That will keep in mind, it's a one-platform giveaway. I'm only going to be doing the giveaways via Twitch, because that's just the easiest way for me to do it. Tracking the entries on both, I mean, I'd have to set up a Gleam, let it go. I guess I could do a Gleam. Maybe I'll change my mind sometime after this, but most likely, I'm going to be giving away those packs pretty much on the spot. So, keep that in mind. And if you want to buy some boosters yourself, I know that shop is going to have a restock. Keep your eye on it. There is a link to it in the description. That is a shop that is sending me my cards and sponsoring this pack opening. And I even have a discount code, Mr. Happy. You'll save money on it. And honestly, if you buy any other packs on there, if you buy like Pokemon, whatever, you can buy them there too. And same discount code, Mr. Happy. Save yourself some money and feed your TCG addictions. Other sponsors, of course, Steel Series. They've been really great with me on the back end. They know I've been going through some stuff. I've really wanted to make some ads for them, post some stuff to YouTube, and I haven't been able to. But, they've supported me all the same. And Ivy, hey, come here. Why don't you just be a part of the video, Ivy? You don't need to get out of the office. Yeah, they've been really, really kind to me on the back end, and I really want to do them a solid. So I want to start making some stuff once I get settled in a little bit more. But always remember, if you're looking for gaming peripherals, use my link in the description. Use my discount code, Mr. Happy. And yeah, I appreciate it. Appreciate when everyone does that. And of course, shout out to all of you and those of you on Patreon who support. I don't lock any content behind money, so Patreon, any other support, it's optional. It's there, but it's optional. I'd rather you buy something from the card shop or Steel Series, though, in all honesty, because, I like my sponsors to support me, and I like to support them back. So, with that, let's get started on the Q&A. All right, first question, hashtag Occult Mondays with Crescent Happy. Hey, Haps. Hi. Glad to see move went well. We're both enjoying the zone with plenty of people. Thanks again for the Oracle job drop. The happy luck is real. Maybe Mike can use some of my luck too. Ivy, stop trying to escape. She doesn't like being in closed doors here. Then I don't leave the door open, but if I let her out and I close the door, you know how it is. Now that we've seen how the zone has been handled, it's fairly fair to say it's a good success so far, given we're stuck with it until 0.55. How do you think they'll handle the future additions? Maybe new CEs for the new jobs added before the next map, or even the CLL Daliada? No, that's not going to happen. There are some options, but just one map seems like it's tough compared to how the other zones were handled, specifically for Relics. Well, keep in mind that Bozu was only 2 zones, and then Delubrum was in between, the difference being that it was 0.35, Delubrum 0.45, and then the second zone at 0.55. We're a patch earlier now. But I think you're way too optimistic. A, we already know nothing's happening in point 3. They've already said that because they're doing a deep dungeon that patch, that nothing is happening to the zone in that time. And they've already told us it's just new fandom jobs. That's it. Like, it's probably just going to cost silver or gold. And that's going to be it. I wouldn't expect any major additions, and that's why it's such a grind to get everything from this zone in the first place. So, I don't set any expectations. They gave us a roadmap, and all it said was new phantom jobs in 0.4x, and then new zone with all the new, bits and bobs in 0.5x. Don't expect literally anything else except that. Hashtag Hondays with Mr. Mrhappy. I see they were flipped. Hey Haps, hi. How are things going? It's going good. 1, regarding the question why Ninja, Dancer, Samurai, and Warrior have the abilities to give you gauge still, the answer is probably they do not spend their gauge in order to enter a burst phase. Really, a cost of 1 ability seems to be the through line. Another thing they have in common is that all those abilities buff the spenders, so I'm of the opinion they can make it so that the gauge increases from the abilities removed. Ivy, stop. Relax. Ivy, just come onto the bed. Just they can't even see you in the bed here. This is it. Just, hey, come here. No. There you go. They increase the ability. Okay, so I'm of the opinion they can make it so the gauge increases from the ability is removed while the buffed version of the ability does not cost any gauge. Thoughts? I'm not even sure. I didn't even remember the question from last week, and it seems like I need to have remembered that. All those abilities buff the spenders. Yeah, I don't even understand. Is this just to like make it so there's like these abilities are available at lower levels? I just don't remember what last week's question is, and this is like, so without that context, I'm not even sure what recommendation I'm actually reading. So if it's to, let's see, I think we can make it to gauge increase. Well, the buff gauge increase of the is removal of buffed version does not cost any gauge. Well, I mean, okay, so this was why some abilities have, I think I remember the question now. It's why some abilities increase your gauge and some of them give you like a stack of something. I mean, the thing is they could do it exactly the same. They've literally just said one of the only reasons they don't do that is because they don't want every job to be exactly the same. They told us that. I know that because I asked them why Machinist Hypercharge didn't just get 5 stacks. And they said, well, then it would be like all the other ones. And it's like, I get it. Like, yeah, they're trying to, like, it's a little, come on. There's a little bit of fight back, unfortunately. I'm not using, I have my actual camera, but I have to change the setup to set it up. Like, I get it, because you don't want them to be safe. It's a little bit of fight back from homogenization, but, like, that's the only reason. We know for a fact that's the only reason why they do it that way. 2, I've been playing Final Fantasy 11 for a while. I don't tend to draw too many comparisons since they are such different games, but one thing I thought could be transferred from 11 to 14 quite effectively are monthly campaigns. So here's the thing. Monthly campaigns, sure, in theory, are fine. You make certain things more attractive to do. The problem with them is the message they send. The monthly campaigns were added in 11 because the amount of content that they were adding and the substance of the game as it was growing, the number was smaller. So effectively, it's a way to add objectives or encourage doing certain things without actually adding anything new, which kind of, it just tries to get people to do things they may not normally consider. So they'll spend their time in their game, they'll keep doing their monthly subscription. It unfortunately sends the bit of a message that your game is kind of on its last legs. I'm not going to lie. Mobile games do it for FOMO, and games that are not doing as well tend to do it as a marketing ploy to get people to come back or play. I mean, that's why we have the Welcome Back campaign. We have things that are like that are marketing attempts to get people to either retain them, like the Moogle event. The Moogle event is actually the equivalent of a monthly campaign in this sense. And it's to get people, it's basically say, hey, you want to be subbed during this month. Ivy, stop. She's losing her mind right now. It's the same idea. If you do that every single month, it doesn't send a great message. It's one of those things where it's not like I would say, no, we shouldn't do it. But I'd be very concerned if we had monthly campaigns in Final Fantasy XIV. I'd be very, very, very concerned about what that means for Final Fantasy XIV as a whole. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hello. Hi, my now fellow South Carolinian. Yes, welcome to Charleston. Food is so good. I know I need a question, so what are your thoughts on the city so far? My job's been sending me there 2 weeks a month for the last 6 years, and it's my favorite place in South Carolina. Interested in hearing your perspective on it. It's very old and historic, nicknamed Holy City because it survived being hit by every known natural disaster save for a volcano. Do not let North Charleston affect your... I don't know anything about any of the surrounding suburbs and whatnot in Charleston. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you can hear her. She is losing her mind. I mean, I've really enjoyed it. I didn't even know it was like such a big thing. Like, I was just like, yeah, it's some South Carolina city. And then Sophie was just showing me like, no, it's like one of the like top, destinations, like move or vacation in like all the US. And I'm just like, oh, it's that. And then I got here like a month ago when I was visiting, and I was just like, oh, it really is like, yeah, there's a lot here. Yeah, as long as you don't mind, like there are things that like, how would I say, like the humidity is one thing. That's like one of the rougher points. If you're, I mean, I'm not super good with the outdoors, but like there's a lot of things alive down here. Like what is it, like gators and snakes and stuff. Like I've never really lived in an area that has a lot of that stuff. So if you're okay with, those kinds of things, bugs, whatnot. Oh my God, she has pried the door open. She actually, from the inside, appears to, yep, there she goes. Wow, she actually opened the door. Wow, I am shocked. She is a crafty one. One of the cats can open the doors from the outside, but she opened it from the inside. I don't know how she managed to do that. And she's probably going to come back in here in like 2 seconds to boot. But yeah, no, the food's great. The weather for the most part's great. Like, yeah, it rains, but like when it's beautiful out. Like, I'm looking outside right now, and it's hard to know if it's going to downpour, if it's going to be a really sunny day, or probably both. But it's great. Easy accessibility. Less expensive than where I usually come from, both New Jersey and California, but a little more expensive for the South. But no, it's I instantly was like, this is a great place. Food, there's so many food options here. Everything is so much cheaper. That it looks nicer. I feel like I'm not in a concrete jungle much for once, and that's actually nice. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hi, Haps. Hi. Hope you're all getting settled in your new place and things are smoothing out with your help. I hope so too. They seem to be. I'm still gonna, fingers crossed on that front. Here's my question, or more my confusion. The dev team had to have been inundated with feedback about the Relic step and Endwalker requiring Tombstone for completion. Why the heck would they implement it as a repeat step for this Relic after years of people screaming, no more, please? The design feels like it also shoves Relic farmers out of Occult Crescent when you think they'd want to incentivize people staying in it. Just curious how they could have landed on the step considering the feedback. So it's a bit of a weird one, because Bosia started this way too. Bosia started with them handing us a free Relic for doing a story quest, and then every Relic after that was tomes for that first step. So what people are hoping is that the first step, being just 1,500 tomes, is basically the equivalent of that, as opposed to the equivalent of the Manderville weapon. And there is a lot of precedent for tomes to play a pretty major role in previous Relics. Normally, though, either a step is outright some tomes, has happened plenty of times in the past, or at the very least, tomes are an option. And I think just, if it wasn't for Endwalker, this would actually seem relatively normal. The fear is that it will be nothing but tombstones for every step. My greatest fear, a one-time grind, some RNG or some time investment, a light farm, stuff like we've always had in the Relics in the past, followed by 1,500 tomes as the repeatable. That I don't want. And specifically, I don't just want tombstones to be the only option. And what boggles my mind is that I always say I just don't want it to be the only option. Tombstones, like I said, have played a very constant role in Relics throughout all of the expansions, except Eureka, where it was locked entirely within Eureka, which worked for me, but I understand feedback says we didn't want to do that. That being said, options are good. Like, what if I could either spend 1,500 tomes on those items, or I could get spare demi-atmas while I'm in the Occult Crescent and exchange those for the upgrade materials. And what boggles my mind is when I say options, it's like, I get that I live in North America, But our reading and listening comprehension can't be so bad that people don't understand the word options, right? I know. The answer is yes. Options means you can have your tombstones and do it that way, or we can have that and more things. I'm trying to make it easier. I'm trying to make it less tedious. So when people bite back at me about that, I genuinely, I don't think I've ever felt less sympathy for calling someone stupid in my life. Because I haven't had a very stressful life, right? Like, I mean, I have, but like not with random people. Like, we're not going to get into that right now. But like with random people, I've not had that many incidents until, of course, being a content creator. But to say no, it's ridiculous to want more options instead of just tombstones. I genuinely can't get it. And like I said, I have no sympathy calling those people just stupid because I'm giving you more. I'm saying use your tombstones. Like, hey, if you just want to use tombstones, that's great. Go do your daily roulettes, whatever. That's great. We've had steps, even the light farm steps in the past. We're really good at that because if you just wanted to light farm a weapon, you could log in, do all your dailies, collect the light from that, and then you could be done. You didn't have to do any more grinding after that. I know plenty of people who finished relics doing it like that, which is great. Those players then can, still do that, log in daily, easy work on the relic, get it done eventually. But when I suggest having multiple options, people just lose their minds. Like, no, tomes are the best. I don't know why everyone wants it to be a grind. I'm trying to make it less of a grind, less tedious. There's already too many uses for tomes. I want to use it on other things, and it's going to get relegated to poetics, and every relic is poetics. And now you need like 180,000 poetics to do relics and stuff. Yeah, no, the hope is that this is a one-time, or at the very least, the only time poetics is the only option. Or, I'm sorry, tombstones are the only option, but I'm scared. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hey, Happy. Hi, hope you're having a good day. It's good so far. It's only like 8:28 in the morning. It's good so far. I have a simple question. Will you ever have an achievement hunter on State of the Realm? I'm a long-time achievement hunter. I feel like our scene is more dark than Ultimates. How do I put this? It's not that the only person I would have on probably is Cider, if I had to say honestly, and that's because I think he is the most entertaining achievement hunter. Because quite frankly, Final Fantasy XIV achievement hunting is probably the least interesting form of achievement hunting I've ever experienced in my life. And it's because the majority of the hunts are just ridiculously over the top, farming X number of Y number of this, to 10,000, doing the 7-year leave grind, or all the accursed hordes, or luckiest of ladies, or you're either just checklisting what the new content is giving you as an option, or you're doing 1,000 bunny chests in Occult Crescent. Like, what is somebody going to offer me commentary wise on 1,000 bunnies from the Occult Crescent? That you have a billion gil and you just bought all the carrots? You know what I mean? Like, it's not that people shouldn't enjoy it, because I enjoy it, actually. But in terms of a topic, it's really just a matter of how much does this game's achievements hate the idea of, like, how many times do they just add achievements to the game that they just throw a number on the end and say, I don't care if it's reasonable. It's not, who cares? It's an achievement. Because that's what it feels like. You know what I mean? And now, like, how much of a discussion can you really, like, if anything, this discussion about how uninteresting Final Fantasy XIV achievements are, for the most part, there are some interesting ones, Blue Mage ones, for example. I don't know if, like, that might be a good topic. In fact, maybe I'll do it. And yeah, I would probably invite Cider on. I guess Violent also is probably a good pick. Those are the only two I really know, is Cider and Violent. I'm sure more people do it, but those are the only two I really know. And it's just, achievements in 14, man, they're not great. And so doing a whole show on them has just not really been a thing that's crossed my mind. Hashtag Happies with Monday Mister. Hello, and another hello for the one who forgot, even if they don't deserve it. Damn. Just a short question. How have you enjoyed OC so far, and have any improvements you want to see? I mean, I guess I covered that in the standalone video. I'd assume this was asked before I posted the video. So like I said, if there's any question that's kind of just like generic thoughts on OC, I have a standalone video for that will cover way more about how I feel about everything than I can cover in an answer here. I'll say I've enjoyed it, and that while I do have some complaints about the way some of the things are done, it feels like I've just been missing a piece of the game for years and years on end, and I'm glad to have something that fills that void for me. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hello, Happy. Hi, hope you're doing all right. Do you think it could be a thing to have the progression system of something like Occult Crescent be expanded into the whole progression system of a new expansion? No. I'll get into it why in a second. As in having MSQ more tied to exploration and actually making the open zones relevant, like the field exploration ones, and having a separate progression system of levels. As a long-time player, I would certainly enjoy some changes to how the MSQ and exploration of new zones is handled. So no. The answer is no. And there are a number of reasons why the answer is no. First and foremost, most people don't want the game to be that way. If you do a whole expansion that way, it's going to turn off a lot of people. I can think of a good example being Guild Wars 2, Heart of Thorns. Heart of Thorns was entirely contingent on you being able to explore through the jungle and get to certain things. And it... the number of people who burned out on doing stuff like that and didn't even care to like try to get through the story and get through to like some of the other content updates that they were doing in Heart of... Fortunately, their other expansions afterwards have been a lot better. But yeah, no. Most people don't want that. People want to do the story, go through the story, and that's it, and then AFK and Limsa. So to add this whole separate element to... No. Number two, they want to make sure that everyone's also always on equal footing. And so either the exploration is literally just the MSQ telling you to go places, which isn't exploring, so that everyone goes the same similar-ish route and it ends up at the same power level at max level. It's either that, or you have a drastic difference in power from players who are going through the story, and they don't want that. They want groups to be pretty even, like, oh, you know, I got a pug for this group, and this guy didn't explore these 6 things on the map and didn't come with the item drop off of this one. Yeah, like they want to avoid that. So no. And also having a separate progression system to leveling. So here's the thing. Effectively, that doesn't achieve anything. Let's say that next expansion, they're like, you know what, level 100 is the last level. Instead, we're going to do merit points. A classic example from Final Fantasy XI. In Final Fantasy XI, when you hit max level, you can earn limit points, and limit points generate merit points, and then merit points can be spent on learning new skills or buying trait upgrades. Common system, effectively, everyone just buys the same thing because, you know, of course, there's some best options, so it doesn't matter. But you are a max level player with or without merit points. And that creates a discrepancy, which means you have to keep leveling after you're done leveling. So a lot different. People always think, oh, what if they added that to 14? Now, in 14, let's be honest, the equivalent of that would be, you're not going to gain any levels this expansion, but as you complete quests, you're going to get limit points. And you get a merit point when you finish it. You get up to 10 merit points, and you can spend them each on skills in any order you want. There are 2 skills each, and there's 5 new skills. So you'll still learn all 5 new skills. You can maybe just choose the order that you actually learn them in as you're going throughout. Now, effectively, when you're done with the MSQ, you're the same. It doesn't actually change. You might as well just gain 10 levels at that point. And that only just leaves you the option to make a worse choice at the, like, first opportunity. I mean, it's not that big a deal. You're going to have a worse choice for, what, a dungeon. No one's going to really care. But that's the only thing. It really only gives you that option to, like, grab one new ability. And that's it. I mean, maybe they can make it so you could change it super easily, but, like, then there's no point in doing it in the first place. You know what I mean? So, no. Having a completely separate style of progression system, probably not a good idea in any capacity. And also the idea of, like, making the open world zones more relevant. They're relevant for what they're relevant for. Like, they're there for crafting and gathering. Really just gathering, but you know what I mean. They're there for the fates. They're there for the one-time rewards from the fates. They're there for the shared gemstones. They're there for maps. They're there for hunts. They're all of their services, that you may not do them, but they're there. I mean, I spend a lot of time in the open worlds because I do a lot of hunts. So I'm actually constantly zipping around the maps. I've done all my shared gemstone fate grinding, and I've gotten very familiar with the zones from the last couple of expansions. And so, yeah, I've had plenty of open world content time. It's just a matter of whether or not you want to do it. And I don't think they are going to prioritize Final Fantasy XIV's open world over its more structured content, or another exploration zone in the future, which I'm honestly hoping they do. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Howdy. Hi. Hope the movie's treating you well. So far, I got some mosquito bites, but that's about it. Basic question. With Occult Crescent, there is now a third set of field exploration armor. I find that between multiple crafters and gatherers at different levels, multiple job types, 2 full sets of Eureka and Blizzard armor, another couple around the corner, I'm having trouble keeping all my gear sets around. Do you run into this? Do you just dump excess armor into retainers and glamour chests? Yes. I am chronically lazy. Why is Ozma allowed to live when I don't have the right pants? Well, he definitely won't live if you bring the wrong pants, because groups just murder Ozma at this point. I do run into it, but I have in recent expansions completely organized all of my sorry, I'm gonna open my coffee mug because it's not gonna get cool faster because it's insulated and it's just completely sealed. I have like retainers that are set, hey, this is like relic related stuff, and I'll stick everything from Eureka in there. I mean, I have every combat relic in the game, so you know, I'm always struggling for space, but I could honestly still do with cutting back on quite a few items that I have lingering around. I mean, it's just a matter of a hoarding problem. I do think that there is some concern with like relics because you can't store them, but with most of the other armor sets you can, as long as they don't have custom stats of any kind. And so, yeah, I usually just tuck them away, and if I need them, I'll go get them. I'll eye search and go get them. If I ever just want to kill Ozma, it doesn't take me very long to do it. So, yeah, I'll just, you know, tuck them away in a specific retainer in the glamour chest or something and go get them when I need them. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Fabio. 2 questions. I like the question mark at the end there. With the way that Cosmic Exploration is building up the moon base, was it sort of like how Mordona and Idleshire were built up and changed during their respective expansions? No, because those were just done automatically. We didn't play any part of that. They would just be like, oh, in this new patch, Mordona looks different, Idleshire looks different. It was supposed to be symbolizing that basically time was passing and that the residents were doing things to build them up. But we played no part of it, so I wouldn't really relate the two. To the raid planner still in development, or is the 14 team abandoning it? They said they were working on it. They said they were aiming for 7.3. But they basically said that they wanted it, obviously, a while ago, and that they were even planning it for 7.2. But they said it was inadequate. Bottom line, they said we could release it. It would serve its function. But quite frankly, with what's out there, no one would use it. And I think that's it. I think that's the most honest thing they could have ever said about a feature. Because the number one concern with any feature that they release that is a replacement for something we do third party, something like using raidplan.io or, you know, all the links that people do for the diagrams. They need a like really good system to move people off of that, because even if you could make the point in game, if the point can be made better, everyone's just going to stay with the third party stuff. Honestly, no matter how good they make it, kind of concerned that's going to happen. But I'd still rather they try, because having the in-game system for it, I think, is way better. So, yeah, we'll see what actually comes to fruition of it. If they did abandon it, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I don't think they should. But I'm glad to see that the reason it's taking as long as it is because they're just like, it's literally not good enough. That's it. It does its job. I could release it now and it would be fine. But there would be no point because nobody would use it. And they would rather people use it. So I'm cool with that. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hi, Happy. Hi. Get well soon. I'm technically okay and well-ish, you know, just need to keep an eye on things. Quick question. I recently completed a dungeon via duty support. I found that the tank roll didn't pull aggro until I pulled an enemy. Yeah, well, no. So what it is if you get close enough to an enemy, the tank will literally like gap closer in and pull the pack. If you are not close enough to them, the range you need to be for them to pull is less than the range of max casting range. So you're usually within range of them before the tank actually pulls. So you'll usually end up being the one that pulls. You think it's a bug? No. I mean, I just described it the way that it is. They have to be close enough to be in range for their gap closer. And if they are, or even the shield lob, like whatever, they need to be in range. They don't care about you being in range. They need to be in range. So, yeah, that's what'll happen. Oh, there's a second question. Okay, 2 questions. Second question. I've heard of players using keypads by various vendors for gameplay. Ever seen one of these programmable keypads for right-hand users? No, I use my SteelSeries stuff. I use an Apex Pro mechanical keyboard and an Aerox 9 MMO mouse from SteelSeries, which you can get by going to the description of the video and using the link, and then using the discount code Mr. Happy to save 12% year round. Yeah, that's how I do it. But no, I honestly, I hate those things. Like I've seen them at like conventions and stuff where like some companies will have stations set up for it. I'm like, yeah. I like good old reliable. Hashtag Fork Tower. Wow, this was 34 minutes ago. You asked this early today. Hashtag Fork Tower with Mrhappy. Hey, Habs, how you doing? I'm doing all right. You doing all right? I'm doing all right. Quick question that's driving me insane as of late. I've seen a massive uptick in Occult Crescent, Chaotic, and EX4 parties where players are entering using sub-level 100 gear because they don't have select pieces holding their item level above the threshold to enter. Sub-level 100 gear. I mean, I guess, yeah, it could make sense. I asked the player why they didn't just get better gear, and they said their item level was all that mattered. I'm going crazy. Does gear actually sync up to the item level? I've been told it does, because you just need the minimum of 690, and I've been told that you just get synced to 700 specifically, even if you're slightly below it. I'd have to go double check, because I've just been... Actually, you know what? I can enter right now, and it'll tell me, because, let's see. When you queue in, a message pops up on the screen, and it'll say... like, item level has been synced to 700. That's not really the information I was looking for. Because there are some things that just straight up sync your item level. Bozia actually worked this way. It's why people could bring in, like, a Realm Reborn shield. And I think this does that here, too. No, because here's the thing. If it did do that, then yeah, I don't know. I haven't actually really cared all that much. But here's the thing. I still don't truly understand it, because using sub-level 100 gear is still just like, bro, just go like at least go buy the Relic 690 piece, or like go drop some nuts or something. Like, you've got to have something. Like, to me, it's mind-boggling, because you'd think they actually like play the game, and then it makes you go like, I don't know if they do. So yeah, I don't know. I'd have to double check, but I know that because Bozia worked that way, a lot of people assumed it worked that way here, but I don't know if it does. And I think the reason it even did that in Bozia is because you could level. So I think this is only syncing you down to 700 if you're over it. But if you have pieces under 700, I don't think it's doing anything. I'm not 100% certain about that, but I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. And so those people should just upgrade their gear. Hashtag Mondays with Mrhappy. Good evening, good sir. So with that hair, where is the Owl Sid? When is the Owl Sid from 12 or Verso from Claire Obscure cosplay coming? Their hair is not done quite like mine. My hair is like a slightly longer, like Winter Soldier hair. It's a little too long for Winter Soldier hair now, which is funny because I actually have a Winter Soldier outfit. But yeah, mine's a little too long, and it's only long because I haven't cut it in ages. I just never did. Every time I thought about cutting it, someone's like, "I really like that," and I'm like, oh. "All right, the compliment." My ego, it has been fed. Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people, dude, it's wild the number of people who don't understand that there's a passage of time. I'm not saying this about you. I'm saying this just like things I read online, where they're just like, some people are like, he got hair transplants. I'm like, bro, just fucking look at my content over the years. You can watch it grow. It just grows over time. It's like, people forget that if you don't see someone for 2 years and you see them afterwards, that time has passed. And that unless they were doing the exact same thing they were doing the whole time, they might look a little different. It's the same with me, like, losing weight. Like, I was 225 2 years ago. Actually, right about this time 2 years ago. I was 2 years, 2 months ago, about. I was 225 when you, like, look at old me. And then over the course of, like, the next 6 months, I got down to, like, 180. And then I hovered to and from, like, 170, 185, like, depending on what I was, like, doing, eating, what was going on in my life. That's where I'm at now. I'm, like, 171 right now. Although I'm at 171 because my fucking diuretics make me piss out, like, God knows how much water, and I haven't gone to the gym because of the blood pressure thing and all the movement. So I probably lost some, like, weight and muscle as well. But it's like, bro, there's just, like, a passage of time. Like, it's just, not everything happens all at once. You know what I mean? This is funny to me whenever I read it. So I'm just like, all right, well, that's weird. Hashtag Mrhappy. This is a brick of a paragraph. Greetings, Happy. Hi. So far, OCCI OCCI? Crescent Island. Ah, yeah, yeah, it's called Crescent / Crescent. Yeah, no, I got you. But I'm a bit dismayed they've yet again pulled an oops all savage with Fort Tower. At least the initial reports I'm hearing is the body checks makes the pug carry unfriendly, like Chaotic. Well, it's like BA, specifically. If there are issues with FF Collect type sites, but Chaotic was only about 5% clear rate. Our clear rate suggests that Chaotic, in terms of the regular active player base, we know it was minimum 12 to 15%. And I say was, as if it doesn't still get cleared. The active player base, like the number of people who actually like pay for a subscription, is likely around 1.1 to 1.4 million. It's not 2 million. And there was over 100,000 clears. So we are looking at something like that. But that's always going to happen. I mean, Savage usually has, not even the whole tier, but like some Savage fights have like a clearance rate of like 22%-ish. I think we've seen as high as like 28% in like the earlier fights. And so, yeah, they usually go for that type of content, usually about at most a fourth of it. I think extreme trials usually range closer to like 30%. Those is only a hard version, no casual friendly one. FT seems to defeat the pug pickup group friendly nature of this kind of content. Other fights sound more difficult than BA. They're not really much more difficult. It's out of it. It's out of that league too. They're not really. Honestly, there's just like, you just need to know if you know where your party lead is supposed to go, honestly, you just follow your party lead the whole time. It's like they are your Dorito for like 90% of mechanics. Savage level players already got Con 7.2. I'm not sure why you needed FT. So, okay. Let me go through this. It literally only takes looking at the participation rate of Eureka and BA versus Bozia, CLL, Dalriada, and Delubrum to see why. CLL and Dalriada are effectively dead content. Barely anyone does them. And Delubrum is even worse. So everything they did that was like pug friendly died. However, BA and DRS in particular have way higher participation rates because they encourage people to make groups and continue to pug it through Discord means, through third-party means. Now, I know that seems like not the best reason, but every time someone's too intimidated to go about it, most of the time they find out that it's not that bad. BA's clearance rate is pretty high at this point. A lot of people have Ozma, because almost anyone who goes in and says, oh, yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot, they just clear it in one try. Maybe they die and it takes like 2 tries or something, you know what I mean? But like, it's super, super approachable through that means. And because of that, it actually has a high participation rate, and DRS is a decent one as well. So it's easy to see why they would do that when it comes to Fork Tower. Now, I will say this, I do not feel like the systems around Occult Crescent support it as well. DRS, obviously, you could queue right into, and Eureka had 144 people per zone. This only has 72, which means that it's kind of rough to, get all 48 people in one instance. I think if they can overcome that, probably hit the sweet spot in some capacity. I still think there's probably some work to be done in that regard, but it's easy to see why they did it. The participation rate, and especially over the long term of Eureka BA, is just way higher. And so just because it seems difficult, it's really not. Like, the first boss is get behind the boss and get far or get knocked away twice. And then it's like, what is it? And then it's the meteor is the scariest thing for the first boss. If you have a meteor, go to the side with all the other meteors and then get in the stack marker. If you have a stack marker, look at the arrow. If it's going towards the boss, then, stand on that side of the boss. Like, it's literally just like a few really basic things. And the body checks themselves are not even all that severe. Most of the body checks are for like 4 people per party. So in theory, you really only need 24 people to actually do it, which is interesting to see. So yeah, no, it's pretty clear to see why they did it the way that they did it. Their data supports that, again, BA's participation rate is through the roof compared to like all the other like raids throughout the time. And as time goes on, when there's less and less people queuing in, it'll be easier and easier to get those 48 player parties into this. So I think they were really thinking of both the excitement of a new progression early, as well as the long-term participation of it compared to previous ones. So yeah, I think it was the right decision, but I think there are ways they could do it that are better. And I go over all that in like State of the Realm and stuff. All right, and that was actually the last question. I think the rest are just comments about my hair for the most part. Most of the comments end up being about my hair more often than not. But with that, I am going to wrap up this week's episode of Mondays with Mrhappy. So with that, thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. And if you have a question for next week, put it in the comment section of the video below. Don't forget the card shop stuff. I will be posting the update on that on the YouTube community page and on my usual socials. If you do follow those, I don't blame you if you don't, because social media is depressing. So yeah, thanks for watching. I will see all of you in the next video. And until then, take care.